What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another review stream. And guys, you are very lucky today. We're literally just going to be live for pretty much a whole day today. It's a busy, busy day here at We Are Tottenham TV. 2 streams scheduled for you guys. First up, we have got obviously the 3-0 Qarabag review stream. Then we'll be taking a break. Press conference will be with you at about 2:30, and then we will be going live for the Manchester United preview stream for the weekend for the Sunday kickoff. But yeah, I guess we'll start off with the Qarabag match review. And look, it was a good, entertaining game last night, and it was a bit of fresh air in that sense, because how often have we seen kind of Spurs in the Europa League group stages, just really dull affairs, and you're thinking, oh God, can we just get to the weekend so we can see some proper football?
Almost like an international break.
Yeah, kind of. And like, not even just under like the Joses and the Nunos and whoever we played under Europe in those with those managers, but even like in the exciting times under Pochettino, you kind of dreaded those Europa League group stage nights. But last night, I thought it was really good to watch. You know, it was exciting, pulsating, up and down both ends, a bit like a basketball match at times. We were scared for our lives at times, but also, you know, had some really good football on show at times. So yeah, we did it the Ange way yesterday, I guess.
And that's the only way he knows how to do it. But I also think, not just because it was a Europa League game, but also going down to 10 men after 7 minutes, usually that kills the game. If a team's playing properly and smartly, usually that kind of action will kill the game. It would mean, the team with 10 men usually will just be digging deep and looking for counter-attacks, and it'll just be attack versus defence, and they just sit back. But it wasn't like that. You mean
if your name's Mikel Arteta? Just say it, Sim. If your name's Mikel Arteta.
I think most managers, to be honest, when you're down to 10 men, you obviously become a lot more pragmatic. You sit back, and it becomes a bit of a boring watch. How many times have we seen it in the Premier League or whatever, when a team goes down to 10 men, it just kills the game, and it becomes like a really dull affair.
And if you go down to 9 men, it makes it even worse usually.
Yeah, usually. And it wasn't like that yesterday at all. It was a really open game. Spurs, despite losing a man, didn't let go of their principles. Still tried to catch out Qarabag with a high press, which they managed to do with the goal. Still looking to be a threat and attack. And defensively, we were very open, throwing caution to the wind. But I guess what you could say is, yes, they missed chances, Qarabag. But at the end of the day, we backed the quality of our defenders, that we would be able to defend most situations, and that if we did make it into a basketball game, we had the better quality to make it count, and that's so it proved.
Yeah, and I think it was right to do that against opposition like Qarabag. But I do feel like if you're coming up against, better opposition, like let's say that happens again on the weekend and we get a man sent off after 5 minutes, should we really go like all-out attack and leave as many gaps as we did yesterday? Because if Man United have the chances that Qarabag had yesterday, they probably put them away.
I wouldn't say we went all-out attack, but we just didn't. We still maintained an attacking threat, which I think a lot of teams don't when they go down to 10 men. We still committed players forward. I think the way Tottenham play, they flood a lot of players forward, and they usually just leave 2 defenders at the back. I don't think we did. We didn't do it to that extent, but we still did it to a higher extent than most teams would with 10 men. And we got the reward for it, because the first goal comes from a high press, and who gets a goal from a high press when they're down to 10 men? It's very rare.
Yeah. Look, let's talk about Radu Dragusin. We've slept on it. We've seen it back a million times, and it just seems to get worse every time I watch it, to be honest. 7 minutes in, it's bad control. The other player gets in front of him, and he just hacks him down. I mean, it's just really poor. And Kulusevski was speaking after the game, talking about how angry Ange was even after the game about that red card, and it really did just put us under pressure from the off. And it didn't seem like that with the first half an hour, because we were heavily dominant, we were controlling possession, and we were camped in their half at times. But it did get hairy at sometimes, and I'm just thinking, like, with Radu Dragusin, with a really big, his agent doesn't stop talking, right? Literally, the guy's agent does not stop talking, saying he should be starting ahead of Van der Ven and Romero. He needs to be getting his game time. Well, he's got his game time in the last 2 games against Coventry, and now, well, he would have got his game time if he stayed on the pitch, and he got the 2 opportunities, is what I'm trying to say. And unfortunately, he hasn't passed in both those occasions.
Well, Ange was angry at the red, but it was interesting after the game. He didn't blame Dragusin solely. He said it was the way we came out. We were being very passive in our passing and our movement, and it led to a very sloppy start, and it led to that incident with Dragusin. And I actually, having watched it back a few times, I'm not saying he's not at fault, because obviously he's the one who let Juninho get the tackle in and then dragged him down, so he made 2 mistakes in one motion. But when he does get the ball, he doesn't have any options, and Ange is always drilling into his players to play forward, always look for that forward option. And Dragusin was obviously guilty of waiting too long to make a decision. Obviously, if he's in a situation like he was yesterday, he should be taking a touch and just getting it back to the keeper and playing it safe. Obviously, that's not generally how we do things, but I do have some sympathy because he gets the ball and there's no one near him. There's no option. Someone should be getting closer to him and providing an option so he gets an easy pass out. And he's under pressure from Juninho. He's looking for a forward option and no one's helping him out. Now, as I say, in that situation, you just play it back to the keeper and that's it. But I also think the team has to take part of the blame that he doesn't kind of have an option near him when he's being pressed from a Qarabag forward, and they're being taught they got to play forward at every opportunity. And on that sense, it doesn't surprise me that Dragusin's looking for a forward option when he receives the ball. And I think the team have to partly take some responsibility that they put him in that situation.
Yes, the team are being asked to play forward at every opportunity, but at some point, common sense has got to be kicked in. And if you don't have any options, which happens in a game sometimes, which shouldn't happen, but it does, you're right. You've got to check back and pass it back to the keeper. And Radu didn't do that, and he faces the consequences of that. And with Ange, what he said after the game, he doesn't want to point fingers. Ange isn't one to point fingers, is he? It's always about the collective. It's never about individuals. That's what Ange is about.
But I think there's a point to that. I think, and yes, Radu definitely deserves most of the blame, as I say, because it was avoidable. Even though there was no options, the situation he put himself in was completely avoidable if he just smart about it and just restarts. But I also think the team should collectively take a bit of responsibility for that situation, and that's what Andrew was trying to say. Because yes, Radu was the one who ultimately made the mistake and it cost him, but it was also partly a team failure as to why that situation came about as well.
And obviously Lucas Bergvall was the fall guy for it, which he looked absolutely dejected, depressed, coming off that football pitch. They zoomed into him as well midway through the first half, and his shoulders slumped, hood over his head. He didn't even want to look at anywhere near the camera, which is very unfortunate for him because everyone was so excited to see him coming in and play this game. Do you think it was the right decision to take off Bergvall? If you look back at it now, using hindsight, was it the right decision? Would you have taken off a different player?
I think it was probably the right decision. I was looking at the time who they're going to take off, and I think Bergvall makes the most sense because you need Basuma and Sarr's legs. Yes, I know Bergvall works hard, but you would obviously trust Basuma and Sarr in that situation more than Bergvall, who's an 18-year-old kid, to be disciplined and to cover a lot of space. And there's going to be a lot more space now than there was with 11 against 11. You need to get an extra defender on, so you've got 4 at the back. So someone has to go off, and unfortunately, if you want to still maintain an attacking threat, you kind of need Son and Johnson, or 2 kind of wingers there to maintain a bit of pace up front. Obviously, Solanke's vital with hold-up play, so you need to keep him. So I can't really see another option, really. It's just unfortunate. It's one of those things, and it's gutting for him, but as he's an 18-year-old kid. He's going to get so much playing time this season. He's probably going to play next week against Ferencváros, so he shouldn't get too down about it. It's just one of those occasions where he gets an opportunity to impress, and obviously I know he's eager to impress and he's eager to kickstart his career at Tottenham, and which, even though he's 18, he was a star player in Sweden, and he's obviously high in confidence, and he was playing every game when he was at Djurgården. So obviously he wants to get into that first team as soon as possible, and I understand that. But he's very young. He's got to have a bit of patience, and he probably doesn't have any patience knowing a player who's probably just wants to be playing football, and he's just desperate to impress. So I understand all that, but it's just one of those things. He's going to have to just take it on the chin, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I'm sure, and I know he said after the game that he hasn't had a word with him, but I'm sure by now he probably has had a word with him. Just a bit of a confidence booster for him, because his confidence might have took a bit of a knock yesterday, but I have no doubt in my mind that he'll come back stronger, probably have a cameo against Manchester United, and then be completely fine to start the game against Ferencváros. But
it shouldn't be that big of a deal. I know he was distraught, but it really, it's just one of those things. And he should really understand the situation.
Look, as an 18-year-old kid, these things will be very frustrating for him. Just very frustrating when you're getting, when you're getting a big opportunity to impress, and then you're taken off all of a sudden after 7 minutes for no fault of your own whatsoever. It's just very frustrating, isn't it? But I really like the way we kind of handled ourselves straight from the off, from getting that red card, because as Ange rightly said, we started the game sloppily, we get that sending off, but straight from the sending off, something kind of clicked, didn't it? And we were dominant, we were camped in their half, we were all over them really, and the possession stats were clearly swinging massively in Spurs' favour. We got that goal straight away, and things were looking good.
Yeah, and obviously getting a goal through a high press, despite having 10 men, very impressive. It shows what Solanke offers off the ball, his tenacity, but he has that strength and that ability to get close to players and nip the ball. And not only does he do that, but he has a presence of mind when he does get the ball, charging towards the Qarabag back four. Good pass, slipping in Brennan Johnson, who obviously got the goal. And that was really, really crucial. I think, especially in that moment, as soon as we went down to 10 men, to get that goal right at that moment, because it just takes the win maybe a bit out of Qarabag's sails, kind of, because it kind of tells Qarabag, even though we're down to 10 men, you're still going to have to make sure that you're defending properly and you're committing players back. You can't just go gung-ho, because we got the quality players, even with 10 men, to hurt you. And that goal showed it. So I actually felt like after that goal, I know Qarabag did have a couple of chances in that first half, but I thought they were a bit more pragmatic in that first half. Qarabag,
I think we forced that on them.
Yeah, as I'm saying, I think they didn't kind of just go gung-ho and go completely forward. I think they did in the second half, but first half they didn't, because that goal kind of made them think, okay, actually, even though they're down to 10 men, we still got to be careful here, and we can't give them too much space. So we got that goal, and it was really, really crucial, and it was really well worked as well from the team.
Yeah, I thought it was really nice, pressing even high up the field from Pape Matar. Obviously, Dom Solanke there as well, pressing really high up the pitch. They win the ball back, slips in Brennan Johnson, and Brennan Johnson finishes with a lovely, lovely finish in the far corner, a bit similar to the position that he was taking up at Brentford a number of times on the weekend as well. And I feel like Brennan Johnson's really a man playing with a bit of confidence at the moment. Takes that shot first time, that's a sign of confidence. And not only that, but a number of times throughout the first half, he was getting the ball and he was showing confidence, trying to take on his man. And you saw when he did go off the pitch at half-time as a substitute, in the second half on the bench, he was laughing, smiling, and it was good to see that from him, because it's a far cry from what we saw at the Coventry game.
Yeah, definitely. So he definitely seems to have a pep in his step at the moment, Brennan, and that's lovely to see, because we know that a player like him, who's got the pace and the physical traits that he does, when he's confident and he's in the mood, he's tough to handle, and he's got pace to burn. He can take you on the outside, and clearly he's shown in the last few weeks he's got a very good finish on him. And we've seen that kind of finish at Forest, that strike across the face of goal. He scored 11 goals, and quite a few of them were like that, hitting the side netting as well. He's got a good strike on him. And unfortunately, he had a few similar chances against Arsenal, if you remember, from similar positions, and did make the most of them. I think one of them he blazed over, one of them he hit straight away. But now, since he got that goal at Coventry, he's starting to hit the corner. And we just got to keep feeding him in those situations, be direct, get him to it quickly so he's got space. And he can hurt teams, and he's showing that at the moment. So delighted for him, and let's hope this run keeps on going. Yeah,
opening half an hour, I thought Spurs were really brilliant. Qarabag did come back into it like the last 15 minutes of the first half, and it's expected, isn't it? When you're down to 10 men, you can't expect to have it all your own way, the 100% of the time, can you?
No, of course not, especially the way we played it, that's for sure. And Qarabag are no mugs, and they're a smart team, they're a good team. Clearly, in build-up, they were quite effective, and there was no surprise that they opened us up a few times, and we definitely got away with a few opportunities. Obviously, the one in the first half, the first one I think was when Ben Davies slips. Lets Juninho in again. It looked like it was going to be a repeat of the Dragusin situation. Luckily for us, Vicario was alert to it. Brilliant sliding challenge. And that was very important that Vicario at that situation became like another defender, because when we're playing a high line, you're going to need Vicario to be on his heels to make sure anything over the top, he's sweeping up. And he did brilliantly in that situation, saved our skin. After that, actually, Brennan had an opportunity, didn't he? Took it past the keeper and missed the open goal, and that was a shame, because that was a really good piece of play from Gray and Brennan together. And then all of a sudden, they started finding spaces. They played a through ball again. I think it was to Juninho, and Udogie does some brilliant covering, defending to make sure that he doesn't get the shot off. And then they had another opportunity where the left back got down the left-hand side, and he was giving us a tough time that whole game, I thought, that left back. And he got the ball across the face goal, and Juninho skews it wide. So the warning signs were definitely there in that first half that if we don't put this game to bed, they can definitely create chances against us. So luckily in the second half, we didn't allow that situation to happen. Well, we conceded chances, but luckily we were kind of 2 and 3 goals up by that point.
I think with the moment that you're talking about with Vicario, when Ben Davies gives the ball away, like just inside our own half, I feel like Vicario is kind of elite in those kind of situations. You saw against Chelsea when we went down to 9 men. How many times did, as soon as the ball seems like it's coming his way, he's darting out straight away, winning the ball back really aggressively. And it was same again yesterday. People have their problems with Vicario in terms of strength in the box from crosses and these kind of things. But I thought Vicario just played the perfect game yesterday. Literally.
Yeah, when it comes to sweeping, I think he's top. I think at the moment, I can see here in the league this season, he's second for sweeps outside the penalty area. I'm pretty sure.
Who's top?
Top is Brighton. It looks like the Brighton keeper. Last season, he was top of the league by some way for sweeps outside the penalty area. So
they probably all came in that Chelsea game.
Yeah, a lot of it was probably in that Chelsea game. But he is very important to our high line. As much as Van de Ven has that pace in behind you, when you got Van de Ven coming back and then you got Vicario coming forward, two elite players in those situations. You have to really time it to perfection to get it right. And if you get it slightly wrong, either Van de Ven's going to win it or Vicario is going to win it. And if you hit it too short, it's Van de Ven. If you hit it too long, it's Vicario. So that he's very, very valuable, I agree, in those situations. It's something Lloris, especially in his early end of his career at Spurs, was really good at. It kind of slowed down come the end. But Vicario's really brought that back, I feel.
Yeah. If we bring up the stats for the first half... So it just shows you, what a big chance they created, because they had a 0.71 XG just in the first half, and we had 0.18, but we did obviously go in 1-0 up. One big chance created each. They had 4 shots, we had 2. Neither goalkeeper made a save, and they obviously had 4 corners to our 1 as well in the first half. And you look at that shot map as well. I think that's for the whole game, though. I think. Yeah, that's for the whole game. But they didn't have a shot on target for the whole first half. You don't have a shot on target, you ain't going to score a goal, essentially.
No. I know, to be fair, only limiting them to 4 shots is not too bad, is it? To be fair, even if it was a good chance.
But their 4 shots were all inside the box, though.
Yeah, but apart from that chance from Juninho, I don't remember too many other serious opportunities they had where I thought we were going to concede. So... yes, it was a big chance, but I thought in the first half we were looking okay. Yeah,
no, we were for the most part. It was just like the last... I just felt like they tired a bit towards the end of that first half, which is explainable, playing with a deficit of a man, what I mean? It is explainable. In the second half, the stats were a lot better in our favour, to be honest. 1.24 XG to us, 1.48 XG to them, and they had a penalty in there as well. 2 big chances each. They had 10 shots, we had 8.
I'm guessing that Solanke one is probably really high XG.
Yeah, definitely. Vicario made 5 saves. Their goalkeeper made 2 saves in the second half. So we did kind of really make it that basketball match we're talking about. It all happened in the second half. I thought Spurs started well in the second half and came out the traps a bit similar to maybe how we started with 10 men just after Dragusin got sent off. But then it kind of just turned into a mad game, didn't it? To both ends, just going back and forward, back and forth, back and forth.
After that second goal, I felt like once we got the second goal, Qarabag were like, screw it, we really needed to just go for this now. and they started really committing players forward, and we were starting to find more gaps. Obviously, they got the penalty, which they missed, and then Udogie gives the ball away, wasn't it, straight away from the penalty after the miss, and they got another chance, and then we hit them on the counter when Solanke wins the ball on the halfway line, and Son plays him through one-on-one, and his strike was missed, and then they went down the other end and they hit the post. It was a really open game and really exciting at that point, and luckily we were kind of both giving as good as we got, and we were the ones who were clinical. Son had a brilliant team move, and obviously Solanke made it 3-0, and at that point it was crucial. We scored at really good times. You know, sometimes you know how like this season we've conceded at really bad times, like the Leicester game and the Newcastle game, we conceded just as we were really on top. Yeah. But at this point, this game, we conceded at really crucial time. We scored, at really, really crucial times, just to make sure we saw out this game, because there was, especially that third goal, that was a moment where Qarabag were really...
Third goal was against the run of play, wasn't it?
They were definitely looking like they were going to score the next goal. And then we go and get that third goal and seal the game. So really crucial. But the third goal, I mean, obviously the second goal was a set piece, which we rarely score from. Despite the fact I actually think we've looked a bit better from set pieces in general this season, created a bit more chances.
Thank Montgomery, mate.
Yeah. But obviously, I don't think this was like a well-worked routine. It was just the keeper flapping and it falls to Saar. We got a bit lucky on that situation. He puts it away. But the third goal, it was quite an impressive goal considering we had 10 men. The way we were able to build out from the back, finds Davis with a brilliant pass out wide to Saar. He was able to find Decky. He lays it off to Son, who gets the shot off. And Solanke, if you actually take a screenshot of, I don't have it, but if you take a screenshot of when Son takes a shot on Solanke's position, he's actually behind two defenders at that point. And then you look at where he ends up when the keeper spills it. He's the one on the move. He's alert to the situation. He's the one sniffing out the opportunity for a mistake or a goal. And that's exactly the kind of player we need. I always feel like in those situations, like as much as I love Son and even Richarlison, I don't feel like they might have scored that in a way, because I don't know if they would have been standing still, admiring Son's shot rather than actually be on their heels, chasing the ball. And that's what Solanke's going to bring, that kind of that
pure poacher's effort,
goal poaching, just sniffing out opportunities, always on the move, never standing still. And he's really, you see his goals for Bournemouth, a lot of them come from that. And that's a very valuable skill, which you just need to be constantly alert to situations. And that is what Solanke's very, very good at. And that's, it looks easy because he ends up with an open goal. And obviously, when he gets to that position, it's an easy goal. But the work that goes into him always being on the move and positioning himself there goes unnoticed.
Yeah, and you know what? A lot of people will just look at that being like, oh, he only scores tap-ins. He's just reaping the benefits of other players' hard work and them taking the shots, and he's just there to finish off. But people don't understand how important it is to have that positional sense in the game, and how important it is to always keep trying to get in front of your defenders as well. Like it's a hard thing to do, and not many strikers have that in their locker actually. And there's something to say about being always in the right place at the right time. And just in general yesterday, I thought Dom Solanke was absolutely brilliant. I thought it was his best performance so far in a Spurs shirt, and I don't think he's had a bad performance in a Spurs shirt yet. I really don't. And yeah, his finishing always could be a bit better, but he's got 2 goals in 2 games now. And look at the heat map, just shows you his work rate yesterday. Look at this work rate yesterday from Dom Solanke. I mean, in terms of a heat map, that's like kind of Harry Kane-esque.
Yeah, and he had to do that because we were down to 10 men, so he had to kind of dig deep, always be available to hold the ball up.
But regardless of 10 men, I mean, his work rate is just incredible every single game.
And that was one of the big things that the Bournemouth fans told us, he brings to the table. And I think it's probably one of the big reasons why we wanted him when we're comparing him. This is what we were saying before the season, when comparing him to someone like Tony. Yes, Tony, you could argue technically and stuff might be a better player. And I think maybe he's a better passer and stuff like that. But when it comes to what we want in the team, as someone who high presses, someone who's aggressive, someone who never stops running, I think Solanke really fits the bill. And I think we've seen that since he's come to Tottenham. He's always showing for the ball. What was crucial yesterday is because we're down to 10 men, we need someone up front just to hold on to it a bit and allow Tottenham to get up the pitch and allow Spurs to to get up and he can find his teammates. And I think he did such a good job a few times, actually. I saw Vicario get the ball and just go direct to Solanke and just cut out the Qarabag midfield, and he was able to make the ball stick and lay it off to the wide players. Obviously, a striker like Solanke, especially like a team like Qarabag, you want to see him a bit more in the box and you want to see him getting more opportunities. But yesterday wasn't quite the game for that. We knew we would we were going to have less of the ball, and we weren't going to have maybe create the opportunities we would in other games. But he made use of what little he got, and I thought he did really well. Obviously, he got an assist. He had that one-on-one. He obviously scored his goal. So a really effective performance. But he was a big reason why we were able to cause Qarabag so much trouble, because he was just a thorn in their side. Every time he got the ball, they just couldn't get it off him, and it was really, really impressive.
Absolute sheer work rate for Dominic Solanke. And I think, Solanke probably worked and did the most miles out of everyone in the team yesterday. I don't have the stats, but it was such a big collective effort yesterday. Everyone just put in such a big kind of effort for the team. You look at Destiny Udogie, him coming on after 7 minutes or 10 minutes, whatever it was, and the effort and the amount of running that he put in the team and how vital he was to us. Mickey van der Ven, I mean, every time it looked like we were in trouble, he was just there to mop up. I thought he was absolutely brilliant. Archie Gray, I think, put in a massive effort for the team as well. Bissouma, Sarr, I mean, all of them. I can't think of a player yesterday that actually wasn't just running their absolute arse off for the team yesterday.
Yeah, I think it was a real team effort, and we needed that because we're down a man, and it's going to take that. That's the only disappointment in terms of, going into the game on Sunday, which we'll talk about later, obviously, but you would have hoped, what you'd really hope for was like a nice, easy 3-0. Like, it was a 3-0 win anyway, but like a 3-0 win where it's comfortable. We just dominate possession and we just, take them to the cleaners and we can take players off. Unfortunately, not only was it not easy, but it was probably had to put extra effort than we would have in a normal game, because we had one less man. So players had to do more extra running and all that kind of stuff. But you can't commend how the team is battling for each other, working together, really digging in and doing what Ange, is telling them to do, and they pulled it off yesterday. Everyone had to dig in and just find that extra, 5% to get that result over the line. But they found it, and to keep a clean sheet. I know they had chances, Qarabag, but to keep a clean sheet and win the game 3-0 when you're down to 10 men for virtually the whole game is no mean feat, even with the chances we conceded, and I think we deserve praise for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought it was a good performance from Sarr yesterday, particularly in the second half. I thought he grew into it. Obviously got the goal, which was another kind of mistake from the keeper, but he reaped the benefits. Do you feel like that was Sarr's probably best performance of the season so far?
I think it was actually a game where, not tailor-made for him, but because we were down to 10 men, I felt like he had to make use of his best attributes, which was his ability to cover a lot of ground and his athleticism. And
that's shown by the heat map, if you bring that up.
Yeah, and I think he actually did a really good job yesterday, just covering so much ground and making sure that we weren't being overrun in the centre. It was him and Bissouma essentially in a double pivot for a lot of the game. And I felt like in this game, because there was a lot more space, that suited Sarr. Obviously, when we're playing against low blocks and he's got to be a bit more intricate, this season that's where he struggled. But in this kind of game, those aren't the qualities we needed from him. We needed his best qualities. So in a weird way, the fact we went down to 10 men, it probably suited him, his style of play, I would say, a bit more. Not obviously he has to work a lot harder. I don't think it suits anyone going down to 10 men, but because it meant what we needed from him was his attributes. Yeah, I think it helped.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, I think you're absolutely spot on. Because if you have 11 men, you kind of want those two attacking eights in there with, Bergvall and a Decky, or Bergvall and a Maddison, or a Maddison and a Decky to really help break down the opponent. But because we were down to 10 men, we needed that grit in the midfield, and Sarr was there to provide us that alongside Bissouma, to be honest, because I thought Bissouma as well showed a lot of grit in that game yesterday. Yeah, he did lose the ball a couple of times with a few sloppy passes, but I thought off the ball, Sarr and Bissouma were just literally everywhere.
Yeah, and made it very, very difficult. Albeit Qarabag was still getting a bit of joy, but in general, they put a lot of hard work in. I think Bissouma was starting to get really tired, which is why he brought him off for Bentancur in the second half after the game was won. But I thought they were absolute troopers in the middle there, doing so much work, just cutting off passing lanes, getting tackles in, digging deep. And I thought they both really deserve a lot of credit for a lot of the work they did off the ball, because it must have been very difficult for them in that situation against a decent Qarabag side. And they just made sure that we weren't as open as we could have been if they didn't do what they did.
Yeah, you mentioned about the effect that it could have on the weekend. How much of an effect do you think it will have? Because you look at the starting 11, Vicario should be all right as a goalkeeper. Ben Davis ain't going to play. Archie Gray's not going to play. Sarr's probably not going to start. But Sonny, depending on the injury, Solanke, Brennan, that's 3. Bentancur yourself will probably start instead of Basuma, I assume. So none of the midfield will start.
Yeah,
so you're looking at the front 3, Mickey van der Ven and Destiny Udogie, who came on very early in the game.
Yeah, which isn't too bad. And considering, I don't know what players went off early for United, but they went pretty strong in midweek, albeit they get a extra day's rest. So the fact that we got, the fact that Romero obviously didn't play because he was suspended. Maddison got a full game's rest. Porro got a full game's rest. Bentancur had a bit of only played half an hour. Those are all really positive, that we were able to get through the game and actually win the game 3-0 without having to use those players. So that's good. But obviously the front 3, hopefully they're not looking leggy on Sunday and tired, because we know we don't actually have too many other options right now. We've got Werner and we've got Mikey Moore, but those aren't really options which you trust. I don't know if you trust from the start at Old Trafford. There
is an option to stick Kulu out on the right wing as well.
You could put Kulu there, maybe even start Bergvall or start Sarr on Sunday. You could do that, but I don't know. Do you want to take Decky out of the centre right now? It's just...
You don't really want to do that, but because we're limited of options,
might have to, yeah.
At some point in the game anyway. Yeah, that is the Man United team that played against Twente, and they did go very strong. Ugarte, Ericsson, Diallo, Fernandez. They didn't make subs until 20 minutes to go. So a lot of them just played the majority of the game, which
they looked quite tired come the end. I don't know if you watched the game. I mean, they played well, but then they conceded the goal and they nearly conceded a second. And if you watch the goal they conceded, I mean, there's one player who just runs from right back all the way through their whole team.
Is that right?
And sets up the equaliser, and they look absolutely knackered. One player who's actually playing really well. I guess this isn't the preview for United, but Ericsson's looking really good at the moment, so that's quite interesting. So
yeah, he keeps scoring, doesn't he?
Yeah, so it's been interesting against us. But yeah, so look, there's no excuses. Yes, we might be a bit leggy and tired and stuff like that, or more tired than we should be.
That's what you got 5 subs for.
But exactly, we've got no excuses. We've got players there that should look fresh. And also, you saw how much it helped Maddison.
That's a good point, actually, as Cantab says. Brennan only played 45 minutes yesterday.
That's a good point. Also, the fact you saw what it looked, how it looked having a fresh Maddison against Brentford after he got rested against Coventry. Again. So that's really important. Porro as well. That's going to be really important. So the players I'm worried about, I guess the only real player I'm worried about is a bit of Solanke, because he's played a lot but hopefully it's just a way of him getting to match fitness.
And he is coming back from injury.
Obviously Son I'm very worried about. We'll have to wait and see about him. And Udogie, because he's playing a lot at the moment. But again, it's another player where you could argue the minutes might help his match fitness. So I don't think it should be an excuse, this game, albeit, there is a risk that we had to overwork ourselves in this one and it could bleed into Sunday. But look, there'll be a couple of days rest and hopefully these players will recover, and hopefully we'll have enough fresh players to get the result.
Yeah, look, we'll get into the Man United game on the next stream, but really good to get our campaign off with the 3 points. Impressive.
I think into the top 5 in the league.
Yeah, I think top 5 or top 4. I can't remember which one, but yeah.
How do you look at the Europa League? Is it?
I've got it here.
Go on.
If you put up the phone again, this is the Europa League standings after the first game. Spurs sitting in 4th.
Look at that, top 4.
Under Ajax, FCSB and Lazio. Galatasaray up there, Rangers up there. Yeah, I mean, look,
so
the top 13 teams all on 3 points.
The top 13, but we're there on goal difference, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can't be
the only team that's got better goal difference than us is Ajax, who won 4-0.
Okay, good. I'm just trying to... Where is it? Is it on the... How do you look? Is it the league? Do you have the league there? Standings.
It's called standings, yeah.
Okay. Oh, it doesn't have the points here.
Here.
So the top 13. So that's only 13 teams out of 36 won. So there's a lot of draws this week.
Someone just mentioned in the comments Porto playing Man United next week.
And they're both in the top 8. I know United drew.
No, I'm saying it's a big game though.
Yeah, very big game. I wouldn't bet against Porto.
You know, if we can go to Hungary and take the 3 points, that already puts us in a massively good position, commanding position.
If we win our first 2, all of a sudden we probably need 1 win. We're already probably in the playoffs.
Yeah, playoffs. Yeah, top 8. No,
I'm saying, but already you're through to the next round regardless.
Yeah.
So obviously we should be thinking about that top 8. That's for sure.
Do you think though, if we do that and win our first 3 games? What's our first 3 games? We got Qarabag, Ferencvaros, and then
was it Rangers?
No, RZ Alkmaar at home.
RZ.
So you do expect to win those first 3 games.
Definitely.
And if we do win those first 3 games and we're already qualified for the playoffs, does Ange starting the likes of Will Lancashire and Mikey Moore in the Europa League games?
The only problem with that is then the really tough games come in. Obviously, you could argue that we can
it's
maybe
called character building, Sim. It's called character building.
Galatasaray away, Roma at home. These are tough games. So it'll be up to Ange to decide if he feels like they're ready for that kind of test. But I wouldn't mind it. Why not? I mean, he's already starting 18-year-olds like Bergvall and Gray in these games, so he trusts them enough to play Europa League. And to be fair, I know Bergvall didn't get many minutes, but Gray did pretty well. Like, they seem to be up to it at the moment. Like, they don't seem out of place, is what I would say. So, maybe he'll start playing more change teams further down the line.
Porto actually lost their first game. They lost 3-2 away at Bodo Glimt, which is an interesting one. But look, great to get off to a winning start. 3-0 at home to Qarabag, going down to 10 men after the first 7 minutes. So you got to give credit to the team, gritty performance, credit to Ange as well for the way he set us up, particularly after going down to 10 men. So I was happy. I was really happy after the game, albeit we did concede a couple of really gilt-edged chances. And we didn't even talk about the penalty that we gave away. Having stepped in it and seen it again, what's your thoughts on it? Because I've seen a lot of people saying, it's a really soft penalty, shouldn't have been a penalty, but I've seen it again and I don't see why it shouldn't have been a penalty.
I think it is a soft penalty. It probably is a penalty. He obviously clips the Qarabag player, and then he does win the ball on the follow through. Like, I don't know how much he did impact I think he makes contact, but did he impact the Qarabag player that much? I don't know. Like, it's one of those, if the referee doesn't give it, I don't think it's blatant enough that VAR gets involved and overturns that decision. So from that point of view, I don't think it's like a stonewall penalty. But like, Basuma does catch him, and he does go over. So he does clip the player before he gets the ball. So from that point of view, the fact that he gave the penalty, I don't think Basuma can really complain too much. So I think, was it a penalty? Probably just about. But I do think it's a bit soft, but I do think it is a penalty.
Well, that is the match review. Let's move on and talk about this super chat just before we go on to player rating. Joshua Bonner says, I'd love to see Udogie develop his right foot. Sometimes we're really limited when he cuts inside as an inverted. He'll need to develop that. Come on, you Spurs. Is that an issue for you, his wrong foot?
I think being an inverted fullback it would definitely help if you're a bit ambidextrous and can use both feet, because you're always looking to progress the ball. If you can give yourself as many angles as possible, and that means developing your right foot, that would always be beneficial. I think Udogie is just so physical, he can get away with it anyway, just being left-footed, because he can work himself angles, because he's got such great physicality, just bullies players out of the way and creates his own angles. But I see what he's saying. I definitely think it would really help if he does develop his right foot. It will make him literally unstoppable if he does that, because he's hard to stop anyway. But if he develops his right foot, all of a sudden, like, there's just no way of stopping him. So he can either bully past you, or he can just pass it off with his right foot. But at the moment, I feel like he has to use his physicality, because he always wants to get it back on his left, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I understand what he's saying, but I don't think it limits us that much, because I still think he gets away with it.
I kind of feel like we've all forgotten how good Destiny actually is, because obviously he didn't have the best end to the season last year with getting injured, and I don't think his form was that good the back end of the season as well. But since getting really back to full fitness, we've really seen the old Destiny Udogie that we saw at the beginning of last season, didn't we? And he's kind of like just reminded me how good this guy actually is. At the age of 21, the guy plays like he's in his late 20s or something.
He's phenomenal. Absolutely love him. So I agree. I think because maybe a couple of things, we got very used to his excellence at the beginning of the season, and also like the team had a drop off, and you're always wondering, it's a bit similar to a lot of our players like Maddison and Basuma who had drop offs and stuff like that. Oh, are they going to ever get back to their best? And I guess Udogie's not been. I don't think people's been questioning him, but we just forget that when he was at his best, he was absolutely unstoppable down that left-hand side, dominant, like when he was going forward as well, getting goals and assists and stuff like that. And it's lovely to see him getting back to those levels.
I kind of feel like, though, like when these players that you're talking about, like the Maddisons, have a bad performance, like it's really noticeable. When Udogie has a bad performance, he still has like that base performance that's really good. You know what I mean? Like he never puts in like a proper stinker, Destiny, where I think other players can at times.
Potentially.
Let's move on to the player ratings, and let's start off with Big Vic. 9s all round for Vicario. Unbelievable performance yesterday, sweeping up for Ben Davies' mistake. He was out there in a flash, made some really important saves on the day as well, and I thought when the crosses came in, he was really strong to claim them. So I can't fault his performance at all yesterday, to be honest. I think it was absolutely brilliant.
Phenomenal. Big reason why we got a clean sheet. In terms of actually saves he made, obviously he did that brilliant charge out the box when Ben Davies made a mistake, and that was phenomenal. He then makes a big save from a long-range effort, which he tipped over the bar. Apart from that, I think most of the saves are actually routine, but he did have to make quite a few of them, so he deserves a lot of credit for that. And what was good about him is he hung on to the ball quite a bit from shots when they were getting put on him, so that was really good. I thought obviously he was very proactive. I thought he was actually quite proactive when coming for crosses, when there was a few crosses across the face of goal, weren't they? And he had to deal with them, and he dealt with them quite proactively as well. And as well, I thought his on-the-ball play was actually a bit better in this one. He actually looked, that moment where he charged out from his box, he actually looked a lot more comfortable on the ball than I've seen him in other games. So that was really, really impressive as well. I just thought he did everything perfectly. So phenomenal performance from Vicario. So he gets a 9 on 10.
Archie Gray, 7 from 6, 7 from Sim, 8 from me. I thought this was his best display in a Spurs shirt. Yeah, I thought we did have a bit of trouble down his end. Their left back was causing us quite a few problems down that side, but I think the stat goes, nobody won more possession in our defensive third than Archie Gray yesterday.
In the whole of Europa League, I think it is.
In the whole of Europa League, is it? Wow.
Isn't it? Is it the whole Europa League?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. The whole of Europa League, which was 8, which is unbelievable.
It just goes to show how much work he had to do.
Absolutely. And also, in terms of working in those tight spaces, wriggling out of situations, his quality on the ball, I thought he really showed that yesterday as well. So massively impressed with Archie Gray yesterday.
Yeah, I agree. And also, you've got to remember, he's 18. It's his European debut as well. These aren't easy games. He's against a good European opposition, especially a team who are consistently in Europe. And he had a lot to deal with yesterday, especially when we went down to 10 men. And to play the composure he does on the ball when he's being harassed by many players, and he's not afraid, even like in his own penalty area, to put his foot on the ball and look for a forward option and try and pass his way out the back, and actually do it successfully on a number of occasions as well. Really, really impressive stuff. And yes, we had some trouble down his side, but I actually thought defensively when he wasn't being like overloaded or double teamed on that side, he actually dealt with situations really well. When crosses came in, he was tucking in and getting clearances and winning possession back effectively. And as you say, he won possession back more than anyone else in Europe yesterday, which goes to show how much good work he did. So I thought it was a really strong display from Gray at right back. So well played to him. You
could just see like why Spurs have spent so much money on him and why we believe in him so much. Because at the age of 18, to show that confidence on the ball, I think is absolutely brilliant. Let's move on to Radu Dragusin. Sim gives him a 2. I gave him a 1. Obviously gets sent off in the 7th minute. I thought it was absolutely disastrous and really put the team under it, to be honest. And I'm not sure why you've given him a 2. Why did he get a 2?
The only reason I gave him a 2 and not an absolute 1 is because I think it should be acknowledged that it wasn't... as much as it was obviously majorly his fault for what happened, I think the team as well has to take a bit of responsibility for putting him in that situation. So I didn't give him a 1. I gave him a 2, but obviously 2 is still a shocking rating. And he does make 2 mistakes. He gets caught and then he drags him down when he
That's why you're giving him a 2 for 2 mistakes.
2 for 2 mistakes, exactly. So. Shocking moment for him. I did feel for him because obviously we know he's a good player and it's a big opportunity for him to get some minutes on the board, and we know that because we got Romero and Van der Ven, his limits in the Premier League are very much limited. So I think I felt for him that the game went that way for him, But at the end of the day, he has to take responsibility for just putting himself in that situation by letting the ball run across his body and not just getting it back to the keeper. So, terrible mistake.
Look, if you're getting sent off after 7 minutes in a game for that mistake that he did, I mean, he gets a 1 for having his name for starting the game. That's all he gets a 1 for. I thought it was absolutely shocking. And I couldn't give him more than a 1 in this game, to be fair. Let's move on to Mickey van der Ven and some more positive players. Sim gives him an 8. I gave him a 9. A big reason why we did keep that clean sheet yesterday. Yes, I know Qarabag did miss the gilt-edged chances, but Mickey van der Ven was there to put out the fires at every given moment. And he was charging up the pitch as well. If you look at his heat map, he's there like deep red in the centre spot in the centre of the pitch, which shows you how much of a work rate and effort he put into the game yesterday. And I just loved what I saw from him, to be honest. And he's such a Rolls Royce of a defender. He really is. The speed that he has to get us out of trouble time and time again, not just in this game, but in pretty much every game that we play. Like, he is just suited so well to Ange Ball. Like, if we didn't have Mickey van der Ven, I think we'd concede so many more goals than we actually do. And yeah, what more can I say? What a player he is.
Phenomenal. Yeah, I actually probably should give him a 9. I'm thinking about it again. But you're also playing right centre-back, so a position where he's not, used to completely playing on his wrong side. He's very used to playing on the left-hand side. I thought he was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. How many times they play the ball in behind and he's just there to mop it up and make sure that there's not even a chance, and he's just making sure he gets there first. I thought he was absolutely sensational. And there was one moment as well, they had a 5-on-3 coming forward, and they make that, try to find that pass in behind, and just Van der Ven is there, and they, even though they had like 2 men on him, they couldn't get past him even in that situation. And it's those situations which Van der Ven just continually bails us out. He's just an absolute phenomenon, and we're so lucky to have him. Phenomenal performance. So
how many times, not just in this game, because it did happen a lot in this game, but how many times where you would have been completely crapping yourself when a player is bearing down, like when it looks like they're about to go 1-on-1, but then you see Mickey van der Ven in the periphery just coming, and you're like, all right, Mickey's there, don't worry about it, it's all good.
He just gets there first.
Yeah, it just stops those heart panic moments, you know what I mean? Ben Davies next. Sim gives him an 8. I gave him a 7. Look, I think there were a few shaky moments in there from Ben Davies. Obviously that one where he gets dispossessed just in our own half, and Vicario's out there in a flash. But there are a couple of other shaky moments in there from Ben Davies. But I thought all in all, he conducted himself really well. He was strong at the back. He was providing us with an out ball quite a number of times. Obviously, one of them led to the goal for the third goal with a lovely ball out there to Papi Matar. But that happened a number of times where we didn't actually capitalise on. So I thought it was a good underrated performance from Ben Davies.
Yeah, I gave him an 8 because I actually thought his passing out the back was really effective, and actually it was actually really good on this occasion, and it put us in a lot of good situations where we're able to get up the pitch and actually hurt Qarabag, and actually led to the goal. Obviously, he had that poor moment which nearly cost us, but luckily for him, Qarabag didn't take advantage, and Vicario saved his skin on that occasion. But apart from that, I actually think he was pretty good defensively. He was aggressive. He won a lot of duels, quite a few duels up against his Qarabag attackers. So I thought he did pretty well, Ben Davies, on the day, and I think on the ball he was one of our better players in the back line as well, so I gave him an 8.
Bissouma up next. 7s all round for Yves Bissouma. I thought there was good and bad in there from him. The good was the sheer work rate that he was showing on the pitch. He was just everywhere in that midfield to win us the ball back consistently. And yeah, he was just such a important cog in that wheel in the midfield to keep us having that possession high up the pitch, particularly in the first half. But I did think on the ball he was lacking a little bit, gave away the ball in quite sloppy situations, and obviously gave away the penalty as well, which just after going 2-1 up could have put us in some trouble. So yeah, there was some good and some bad in there from Bis.
Yeah, it was mixed, wasn't it? I feel like with Bissouma, just in game, there are some moments where you think, "Oh God, he's so good! Like, he's incredible! What a player!" And then the next moment he'll just do something like, "Oh my God, he's terrible! He's so inconsistent! Like, what's he doing?" And I felt like this game was a bit like that. But he had to put in so much extra work because we're down to 10 men. I did feel like he was starting to tire in that second half, which is why Bentancur came on. And I did feel like even that challenge for the penalty was a bit of a tired challenge as well. I felt. Obviously, he's coming back. He is coming back from an injury. He had half an hour against Brentford on the weekend, and obviously got a start on this one, so he's getting himself back to full fitness. So maybe that played into it as well. I did think there was a lot of good stuff, especially in the first half, where he allowed us he was moving around a lot to just be an option and allowed us to dominate the ball. So that was really good. He was a bit sloppy sometimes in possession, but was also finding us some good passes going forward, and also his dribbling sometimes, getting us out of tough situations and winning free kicks, which is valuable. And off the ball, I just thought he put in a lot of work, so I gave him a 7.
Next up, Pape Matar. Sim gives him an 8. I gave him a 7. Definitely his best performance of the season so far. And like Sim mentioned in the preview, it was probably a game. Once we did go down to 10 men, we really needed the qualities that he had on show, and they were there for all to see. Obviously, gets on the score sheet with a scrappy goal from a corner, which was a nice finish for him, but the player was on the line there, and maybe a better defender would have kept that out. But you got to give him credit for getting on the score sheet. I thought on the ball he was a lot better in this game than he has been pretty much all season. But again, a bit like Bissouma, that work rate was just unbelievable from Pape. He was just everywhere the whole game, and I felt like he was a bit quiet in the first half, but as the second half progressed, he really grew into the game.
Yeah, and I think he used his best traits really well, and it was really needed in this game to cover as much ground as he was able to do, and make sure that he was winning duels, and make sure he was just making things difficult for that Qarabag midfield. And I thought he was always literally just there covering every blade of grass, which was really, really important. And obviously he was at the right place at the right time to get his goal as well at the back post. And it wasn't an easy finish, on the volley. Just make sure you hit it hard, hit it low, get it on target, and forced it over the line. So good finish from him, and I thought he really put in a shift in this one and wasn't as sloppy, I felt, as Bissouma. So gave him an 8.
Lucas Bergvall up next, 6s all round. A bit unfair to give him a rating, to be honest, because he goes off after 10 minutes and for no fault of his own, just because Radu Dragusin gets sent off. So I felt for him massively, because I really wanted to see him, and I really wanted to see him make an impact, and I'm sure he would have done if he stayed on the pitch. But unfortunately, he was the fall guy for Radu's mistake.
Yeah, more to say. He had 6 touches. Can't really rate him high or low, because he just couldn't impact the game because he was taken off early. So it's just a massive shame.
Brennan Johnson, Sim gives him a 7. I gave him an 8. Lasted 45 minutes. Probably the right decision for man to take him off, because we needed someone of Decky's qualities come on in that second half. But what he did do in the first half, he showed quality. He was showing confidence as well. He was taking on his man, obviously with a lovely finish into the far corner to put us 1-0 up just after that red card. So can't fault Brendan at all. Another good performance.
Yeah, and a lovely finish for his goal, and slides it into the far corner, which is now, last season was the back post finish was his goal, and now it looks like it's the shot across the face of goal that's becoming the Brendan finish this season, which is I love to see, because he's going to need to kind of add that variation if he's going to become a top winger. Obviously, he had that chance as well. Gray played it over the top with a beautiful pass, and he took it around the keeper and had an open goal. Probably could have. Well, it was a difficult finish. It wasn't easy, but be disappointed he didn't get that on target, and that could have been another goal for him. And just can continue. Was providing a threat down that right hand side before being taken off. So really great for him to continue that goal scoring form, and good performance as well. Sonny up next, 7s all round from Sonny. Really another one that just put in such a big effort for the team, always running. I thought he did really well in the defensive aspect of the game yesterday, tracking back, winning the ball back, and obviously it was his shot that forced that goal for the third goal, which made the game pretty much beyond doubt. So look, it wasn't Sonny's best display by any stretch of the imagination, but still a very important display for the team. Yeah, and what was really crucial about Son is whenever we were on the ball and going forward, he was always an option. We always could play out to him. Yes, he wasn't always creating something from it, but he was always out winning throw-ins and just holding the ball up and just keeping possession. And he was always seemed to be free on that left-hand side, which is really, really valuable, especially when we've got 10 men, just to have that out ball. And he was always running in behind. He was always asking different questions of that Qarabag backline, despite the fact we had one less man. And he deserves a lot of credit. And obviously, his shot led to the third goal as well, despite it wasn't the best shot. But his shot obviously will spill to Solanke. And if you don't buy a ticket, you don't win the raffle, as they say. So I think he did a really good job for the team yesterday, Sonny. So I gave him a 7. Yeah, and I felt like in the second half as well, he was able to get more in those shooting positions. He was drifting inside a bit more to ask more questions of the Qarabag defence. Obviously, he goes off. I don't know. It was a bit of a strange situation, wasn't it? Because he goes down.
Then he goes over to his teammates to celebrate, and then Ben Davies is telling him to go down again, and then he gets taken off. So I'm not sure really what happened there. Is he injured? Is he fatigued? I guess we'll find out in the press conference later on today.
I'm worried whether he's injured or not, because he said he's okay, but he doesn't want to reveal any more. I don't know what that means, or he doesn't want the Korean journalist he was talking to reveal any more of what the situation is. So I don't know whether he's hiding the fact that he's injured. I don't know, but let's see. But it was a weird situation. Yeah, he as soon as the goal went in, he starts taking his armband off, so he's kind of implying he wants to come off, and then he starts celebrating with his teammates, and then starts walking back to the centre circle, implying he wants to carry on. And then you see Solanke, you see
Ben Davies,
and you see Ange from the sideline and go down.
And
like
Davies
that.
was doing it as well.
So, I mean, I don't know why he has to go down. Why can't Ange just take him off?
Yeah, the ball wasn't in play.
Yeah, so. It's a bit of a peculiar situation. Obviously, the medical staff came over to him, and then he did walk off. He wasn't carried off or anything. So let's hope he's okay. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, Ange said after in his press conference that he was feeling tired and he was running after the game, so he didn't seem injured.
He was running after the game.
That's what he said in his press conference, or something along like that. Or he was running or something. He said maybe he was talking about when he ran over to the celebrations.
Okay.
I don't know. Big Dom Solanke, last of the starting 11. Sim gives him an 8. I gave him a 9. The sheer work rate from this guy is just incredible. Not just in this game, but in every single game. But this one, it took it up to another level. His hold-up play, his build-up play, getting on the score sheet once again with, he had no right to get to that ball with 2 defenders ahead of him, and he just darts in front of them and reaps the benefits of Sonny's shot. And he was involved in the build-up play for our first goal as well, with Brennan Johnson with a really nice assist for Brennan. So he's starting to get that link-up play with Brennan. He's got a really good relationship that relationship with him on the pitch is really building now, I feel. And I think Solanke, the more and more he plays in the Spurs shirt, the more and more I'm falling in love with him.
Yeah, and he's really fitting into that front three. He really suits us from the pressing standpoint. He does phenomenal work off the ball, just getting close to attackers, winning the ball. And because he's so strong, as soon as he gets close to you, he just muscles you off the ball, and he's really hard to stop. And obviously did brilliantly for the first goal to win the ball back and obviously play Brennan in. He also won the ball in the middle of the park when he played the ball to Son, who played it back to him for a 1-on-1. He'll be a bit disappointed he didn't slot it past the keeper on his left foot there. And then obviously did really good work for the goal. When Son takes that shot, it looks easy because he's just tapping in a rebound, but his movement never stops, always sniffing out the opportunity to if there's any mistakes or anything, the ball falls to him and he gets a bit lucky, but it's all because of his work and his endeavour to sniff out the goal scoring opportunities, and he taps home the goal and makes it 3-0. But he did tireless work on the ball, with his hold up play and just holding off Qarabag defenders and making sure that if he gets the ball, he's winning free kicks and just making a nuisance of himself. And they really struggled to deal with him, and he ends the day with a goal and assist. So brilliant day for him.
And let's move on to the substitute, starting off with Destiny Udogie, who pretty much played the whole game, came on after 10 minutes, 8s all round for Destiny. And I thought from the first second he was on, he was putting out fires. Nothing got past him pretty much the whole game. He was so physical, so aggressive. And it's hard to believe he's 21 by watching him on the football pitch, and he's so important to this team. Whenever he's not on the pitch, you feel like you're missing an element in the back line, and as soon as he come on, you saw how important he was to us defensively and offensively as well. He's just everywhere on that football pitch, and he's so strong from those defensive aspects, and I think Qarabag just could not get any spare change out of him.
Yeah, he was fantastic on the left-hand side, so dominant. What I loved about him as well is he gets on the ball, he drives into the space, and that's so crucial when you have 10 men, just to open the game up a bit. And when you're driving into the space like that, it allows the team to get forward, and it just takes the pressure off the team as well. I thought defensively he was fantastic. Anything that came down that side, I felt he just dealt with. And he's, again, similar to Son, he's always an option on the left-hand side. When we get the ball, he's always breaking into the space off the ball to make himself an option. And so often we're able to just play the ball out to him, and he was able to keep the ball for us and allow us to get out of the pitch. I thought he had an exceptional display, and they couldn't live with him. So brilliant display from Destiny.
Decky up next, 7's all round for Decky. Came on the right-hand side of the attack for Brennan at half-time, and then much later on in the game, he did move to that false number 9 role when Mikey Moore came on the pitch. And I thought, look, he did a really good job for the team. He was helping us hold on to the ball a bit better than maybe we were doing in the first half. And he just has that physical presence, and it was probably the right move from Ange to bring him on in that second half.
Yeah, I think so. I was saying in the second half time, what sub would you make? And I said bring on Decky because we need someone like Decky to hold the ball up. Similar to Solanke, just someone use your physicality to get the ball, and when they get it, they can hold on to it and not just lose it or get tackled. And he did that really well on the right-hand side. Also provided a bit of a threat. You know, he won the corner from his good dribbling down the right-hand side, and then obviously he played the corner in, which led to Sarr's goal. So involved in the second goal as well, and I thought another player who did a really good job for the team, just working really hard down the right-hand side. Just when he was another out ball, someone we can go direct to, and he was doing some really good stuff when we went direct to him as well. So solid performance from Decky in that second half.
And Ange Postecoglou, 8's all round for big Ange. And, you know, down to 10 men after 7 minutes. That don't faze him, does it? Nothing phases this guy. No matter how many players he gets sent off, we're still going to stick to our principles. We're still going to play our way, and we reap the benefits of it. Yes, it could have gone a different way if Qarabag do put away their chances. Missed penalty, big chance in the first half. But you got to give credit for Ange to keep telling the team to keep going, get those goals. And we won the game 3-0. And I thought he made the correct changes to impact the game as well. Destiny obviously coming on after 10 minutes with the sending off, and Decky coming on at half-time. I thought they were the right changes to make at that moment in time. I think the only one that I would have changed is I would have brought on Mikey Moore when Timo came on, but I can understand why he did that.
Yeah, I think he managed the game pretty well. I think, unfortunately, it was the right decision to bring on Bergvall at that point when we went down to 10 men. Obviously, we did come out pretty sloppily, which he acknowledged, but I thought the team really reacted well to going down to 10 men, and we still maintained that threat. And we kind of showed the principles and the philosophy of Ange Postecoglou, even though we had a man down, and it worked in our favour on this occasion, despite the fact we did concede some chances. You know, you can look at it two ways. We put ourselves in position to score the goals we scored with 10 men, which, you know, to win a game 3-0 when you're playing the whole game with 10 men, playing the way we did is very impressive, despite the fact that, yes, on another day you could concede a couple of goals, but as well on this occasion the luck went in our favour, and we end up being very, very clinical, and that's because Ange Postecoglou set us up in the way he did. So I think managed the game well, managed us with 10 men well, and deserves credit, so well done to Ange.
Absolutely. So that is our player ratings for the big 3-0 win against Qarabag in the Europa League first game of the group stages. We've got a super chat here from Dark Sun G. Big up to you, Dark Sun G. He says, Kois, I love how our players played well in the first European competition in their careers. Van der Ven, Udogie, Johnson, Solanke with a question mark, Vicario, Gray, now on to Man U. I don't think it was Solanke's first game in Europe. Surely he would have played some minutes somewhere.
I think for Chelsea
or Liverpool.
I'm not sure Liverpool, maybe Liverpool as well, but I think definitely for Chelsea, because he was quite a big prospect early doors at Chelsea, and I think he was getting a few minutes. So I think Chelsea might have made a few European appearances, maybe probably from the bench. But all the others, that it's mad to think about, because Van der Ven, Udogie, they're so young, but they're so talented that, they've still got so much to learn because they haven't even played in Europe yet. Like, it's crazy to think about. So they got so much to grow, and just goes to show how much scope they do have to grow.
Another one from Tigaro says, question, if Real Madrid offered 100 million for Van der Ven in January, would you take it? I wouldn't. 130 million maybe. Nah, I'm not taking any money for Van der Ven. Van der Ven is literally, he is priceless in the system that we play. He really is. You can't buy another defender with his pace. You can't buy that pace, even though we did, but you can't buy it again. And the job that he does for the team, no one else can do in world football. I really believe that.
No one in Europe can do what Van der Ven does. The only problem is he did pick up a big hamstring injury last season, albeit that's the only injury he has picked up, I think, for Tottenham, or major injury. So you just got to worry about, is that hamstring going to go at any point? But from what he offers when he's on the pitch, no defender in Europe can do what he can do. He's the fastest player in the Premier League, let alone defender. And to have that centre-back is such a major asset. And not only that, he marries that with composure on the ball and ability to play out the back as well. He's just a phenomenon. So for me, I don't think I would take the money.
Nah, no chance. Yeah, so that is the super chats. I just want to let you know, if you want to get involved in the app that we've been using to analyze the players, to get the in-depth stats, the match stats and the player stats, do download SofaScore. The link is pinned to the top of the live chat. And we've also got a competition running until 7:45 tonight. You got to be in it to win it, guys. The link is in the description below. It's to win a t-shirt for you and your friend, any t-shirt on the We Are Tottenham TV store. So click that link in the description, put your details in, your name and your email address, and we'll do the live draw on Monday. But let's get into the 5 takeaways. First up, we're going to be looking at we only need 10 men.
Yeah, and despite the fact we went down to 10 men after 7 minutes, I think we got to be proud of how the team reacted and continued to go forward. In fact, despite the fact in the first half we went down to 10 men, we still maintained 63% possession in that first half, which showed that we didn't want to move away from how we want to play, even though we were a man down. And obviously, we created one big chance. We had 2 shots, and we outpassed Qarabag in that first half, 320 to 180, which goes to show how we stuck to the way we were playing it, especially in that first half with 10 men. Second half was a bit different. Qarabag did have 66% possession, and they did outpass us 295 to 149. So we had to be a bit more transitional in that second half. But, you know, we showed in Brentford, if you want to go a bit more transitional, we can also make that work as well. And we can be direct, and it maybe created a bit more space. And maybe we're starting to show we have a couple more strings to our bow as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, that's been a big criticism of Ange, hasn't it? That we can only play one way and there's no variation in our play. And I think the last 2 games has really shown that Ange can do a few different things during the game, whether it be make us a bit more transitional, concede possession, put Sonny and Brennan a bit more on the inside than opposed to the outside, and keep inverting the fullbacks. So there is a few variations to our play, and I'm loving the look of it. I really am. Number 2, we're going to be looking at Vicario saving Spurs.
Yeah, and Vicario yesterday was a big element as to why Spurs were able to keep a clean sheet against Qarabag, despite the fact we went down to 10 men and conceded a lot of chances. Obviously, he made a brilliant recovery challenge when Ben Davies made a big mistake, nearly letting Juninho in behind again, which happened in the first 7 minutes, which caused Dragusin to get sent off. This time, Vicario wises the situation, charges out his box, and does a brilliant sliding challenge. I think yesterday he made 5 saves, with the best one coming from that long-range effort from the Qarabag left back, which allowed him to make a brilliant save, tipping it over the bar. He actually won 2 out of 2 aerial duels as well, which is good. And he actually won 2 out of 2 ground duels. So that ground duel he won probably wasn't the only one as well. He made 1 high claim and just had a bit more confidence and command of his area than he has in other games, which we definitely needed in this game when we were going to be under a bit more pressure than in other games. So I thought he had a brilliant display, Vicario, and it just wasn't just the saves, but his all-round presence really helped us in this one.
Yeah, and he's come under a bit of criticism, hasn't he, after the Brentford game, which I thought by and large he played really well, but there were a couple of mishaps in there, obviously the handball and him trying to play out the back where we nearly conceded that goal, and obviously that corner from the Arsenal game. But I think he just got everything spot on in this one. His rushing out the back, his sweeping was brilliant, his command of the box was brilliant. He made a top save in there as well when Qarabag had that shot from range. So you've got to give him utmost credit, and he ended the game with the captain's armband on as well, which we saw that he was part of the leadership team, and he got actually the captain's armband before Ben Davies, which was interesting.
Yeah, I wonder if that's an indication of the standings in the squad now, because I think maybe
100%.
Maybe last season Davies would have got the armband.
Definitely.
And this is the question I asked to one of the guests yesterday, but as I was saying, our last goalkeeper was a goalkeeper we had for a decade, and he was a leader in the group. Do you back Vicario to be that kind of guy we can actually have for the next decade?
I think yes. I think for the most part, his assets are really strong. There are things that he needs to brush up on and things that he needs to improve on, which you got to expect from any player, to be honest. So I want to see him command that 6-yard box a bit better, be stronger when he's been crowded out a little bit. But I think for the most part, the most things that he does do, when you're looking at his sweeping, when you look at his shot stopping, and potentially his playing out the back, can do a bit of work. But I'm happy with it for the most part. I think we've got a good keeper, and if he can brush up on those things, I have no doubt that he can be here for the very long term. Number 3, we're going to look at Solanke's hold-up play.
Yeah, and I think Solanke did such a good job for the team yesterday. He had to do a lot of work considering we were down to 10 men and he wasn't maybe going to get the service he would have got in what's it called? In other situations where we have more men on the pitch. But I thought yesterday, obviously off the ball with his pressing, he was absolutely phenomenal. Was able to charge down the Qarabag defender for the first goal, and obviously he was a poacher's effort for the third goal to seal the game. But I thought the amount of work he did off the ball, just holding it up, being a nuisance for the Qarabag defenders when we were a bit of trouble and they were pressing, we could go direct to Solanke, knowing he could hold it up for us and he could just hold off a few Qarabag defenders and just allow Tottenham to get up the pitch and win some free kicks and just break up the play a bit as well. And from Qarabag's point of view, I thought Solanke was absolutely fantastic, and he actually ended up the day with a goal and assist as well, and that's now 3 goal contributions in his last 2 games, and he's really starting to get grips with the front 3 now, which was always wasn't going to click straight away, but he's definitely starting to build those relationships with the front 3, and you can just see what he's going to bring to this team. He brings something which we just haven't had before, and it's hopefully starting to add a new element to our attack.
A lot of times when you've got a new number 9 and they're missing chances, which they should probably stick away, and you've seen them stick away like similar chances in their previous team, I think there'll be a bit of negative connotations about him. But when you're looking at what he actually brings to the team, in his hold-up play, his sheer physical presence, his work rate, everyone's kind of buying into Solanke, aren't they? And I think that's a credit to him, because it's very easy just to look at those missed chances and being like, this guy's another dud. But because of all the aspects that I just said, he's actually, building up a lot of goodwill and good faith with the Tottenham fan base. And I think he's just getting better and better and better every time we see him play. And his work rate is getting stronger and stronger and stronger every time we see him play.
And he said, he came in his first game, he got an injury and he said it broke up his rhythm a bit.
Yeah.
And obviously the first game he came back, unfortunately, was Arsenal, where it's always going to be a difficult game. But he's now, you can see he's starting to find that rhythm again.
100%.
And it hasn't taken that long.
Hasn't taken him that long as well. And 2 goals in his last 2 games, 2 poachers' efforts. First one off a Maddison shot, the second one off a Sonny shot, rebound off the keeper. Dom is there, right place, right time to stick the ball in the back of the net. And it's just unfortunate that he did pick up that injury, because if he didn't, he probably would have got up and running a lot quicker than he has done. But we're here now. He's growing into the season, and he's going to get a goal at Old Trafford this weekend.
Exactly. Come on.
Number 4 is fortune favours the brave in this game, anyway.
Yeah, and definitely I think fortune is the right word, because as much as, look, I commend the team for how they played, and obviously we won 3-0 and it's an impressive result and the outcome was good. We definitely, there's no game, don't get it twisted, we definitely had some fortune in this one, because Qarabag did have some a good level of chances. They had 2.19 XG, obviously 3 big chances on the day, which is actually only the same as Tottenham, which is interesting enough, but still 3 big chances on the day. They missed a penalty. Juninho skewed one wide in the 6-yard box. They had that moment where Davis was tackled and could have caused us problems. Obviously, they had the chance, which Dragusin drags them down. That would have been a 1-on-1 as well. They hit the post. Juninho hits the outside of the post as well. They had a goal ruled out through offside, albeit it was offside, so it was the right decision, but that was a close moment as well. So as much as we definitely were brave in this one, we definitely did get a lot of fortune, it's fair to say, to get a clean sheet.
Look, it wouldn't be Spurs with a few hearted mouse moments with it. So we can't just do anything as simply as maybe the fans would want it. But yeah, look, there were definitely a lot of fortuitous moments in the game yesterday. But we got away with it. We got the 3-0 win, kept a clean sheet with 10 men for 90% of the football match yesterday. So you got to give the team credit, but definitely fortune favoured the Brave yesterday. So it was good to see. Fortune definitely didn't favour the Brave when we played Chelsea at the beginning of last season. But let's move on to the 5th and final takeaway, and that is a good start to a new format.
Yeah, and that win puts us into the top 4 of the new Europa League standings. It's now obviously the new format, a 36-team league. Everyone thinks goes into one league, and with that win in the opening game week, we are in the top 4, which obviously the top 8 go directly into the last 16 of the Europa League and avoid that playoff game. So that's going to be really crucial in this one if we want to avoid that fixture congestion and having those extra games and putting more burden on the squad. So look, it's only the first game. You can't obviously make too many judgments, but it is a good start and it's good to be in the top 4 and just hopefully we stay there.
All right, and that is our 5 takeaways from the Qarabag game yesterday. Just quickly, there's been some news about Sonny and his injury that has just come out, saying the player wants to train tomorrow, and assuming that's the case, he will train, and then his availability for Manchester United will be assessed from there. So there's definitely something going on there, though.
I mean, that's positive.
Yeah, it's positive for sure.
Because he's not ruled out. And if he felt an injury, he would have been ruled out. So that's good. And look, maybe even if he's on the bench, if he can come on and be an option off the bench as well, that could be good. So let's hope he'll be involved tomorrow. If he has to miss one game, it'll be bad, but it doesn't sound too serious. Is the positive thing.
Yeah. And obviously, as well, Richarlison has been pictured training on the grass at Hotspur Way as well. So maybe he's nearing full fitness and back to availability. I'm not sure if he'll be available this weekend or not, but he is training on the grass. It looks like he's still training away from the team, though, and just with a fitness trainer.
Yeah, 100%. So that's really positive as well. If we can have Richarlison and Solanke as 2 options, I think that's going to be really good options to have, in my opinion. We just need Richarlison at full fitness, and then as well, we can take Solanke off on some occasions, bring Richarlison on. All of a sudden, that's another threat there, and he's another presence there. And also, you can maybe play them together if we need a goal late in games. So I think getting Richarlison fit is going to be really crucial.
Let's finish off the stream on reacts. Can you just refresh the Twitter quickly?
And also, Pep has confirmed that Rodri will definitely be out for the whole season.
Great stuff. All right, let's get into reacts and see how Twitter did react to the game yesterday. First up is from WhoScored.com saying, no player won possession in defensive third more times than Archie Gray, which was 8 in the opening round of Europa League matches over the week.
For his European debut as an 18-year-old as well. That's really, really great to see. So I'm really happy. I'm happy that he put in a good display, and he seems to really be adjusting well to life at Tottenham.
Yeah, absolutely. You can move past the next one because that is just the same thing. This one's funny. Spurs lose possession, and this is Solanke.
Literally, as soon as a defender gets the ball, you must look up and just see this absolute beast running towards him, and it can't be a not scary sight. Put it that way.
Yeah. This next one, this is Son feeling a bit of an injury at the back of his thigh, and the tweet says, if you have a conscience, you'll let him rest for the next game. I hope you feel more at ease.
What's he so thought that this account wants him to be rested for the United game?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, United, I would play him in United and rest him for the Ferencváros game, but look, I wanted him rested for this game.
You don't want to aggravate anything, though, do you?
If he's injured, then definitely don't play him, but if he's okay... look, I would have rested him for this game against Qarabag. We didn't. We played him, and we are obviously. This is what I was saying. He's 32. You don't want to overwork him. You need to manage his minutes, and hopefully we're not putting too much pressure on him.
Next up is just another angle of that Sonny feeling his thighs yesterday, and the tweet says, "Look at this. Rub the back of your thighs. Why don't you treat our players with respect and make me angry?" Yeah,
he's touching his hamstring there, which is really concerning. So hopefully he hasn't tweaked anything. But it was interesting. I'm just seeing a quote here. Someone said that Ange said that the Son injury isn't too serious. That's implying that there is some sort of injury there. So I hope that isn't true, but it's a bit concerning, yeah.
Clara says, my day ruined, and that is with Sonny on the ground nursing that injury, and straight away takes off that captain's armband, doesn't he?
Yeah, that was the only thing that was worrying really after the game, that Son went down like that. But look, positive news for Ange. Said he's hopefully going to try and train tomorrow. He says he faces a late fitness test, so let's see how he comes tomorrow. I've got a gut feeling he will be involved on Sunday, but I have to wait and see. That didn't look good though, did it?
No. Next one, Son leading out the team at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium yesterday in the Europa League. Next up, again, just another one of Sonny going down, just not looking very happy. After that, this is a funny one. 4 a.m. in Korea watching the Europa League yesterday. That's what the whole of Korea were like. Just to get a few more glimpses of Sonny.
Absolutely fantastic.
Next one is Kayla7. Been telling Sonny to sit down in order to get subbed off. His best friend for real. And that was Ben Davis telling Sonny to go down. But again, like we were speaking about this before, like I don't really understand why he has to go down. Why can't Ange just sub him?
Yeah, I don't really understand unless Sonny was, set to continue, or he felt like he could continue or something. Dave was like, "Look, you're not continuing. Just sit down and go off or something." But I don't understand why he has to sit down. Why can't he just? I guess maybe just to make sure he's being assessed properly. Maybe, I don't know. Why can't he do it on the touchline? I don't really understand why he had to sit down. Kayla7
says he's been so vocal on the fact that his body's really tired. He never really says those things unless he truly means it, because he loves to play as many games as he can. It's so difficult to see him on the floor when he's been so vocal about this topic. It's true, isn't it?
Let's just hope he's okay. Well, I know yesterday was especially a tough game because we're down to 10 men. He had to do some extra running. So, look, he's our captain. He's always going to make himself available, isn't he? He's always one of those players where if he feels like he can play, he'll make himself available. So it's a tough one. Hopefully, it hasn't made too much of an impact.
Mm-hmm. Sergio Season says 6th of September, De Bruyne complains about the schedule. 18th of September, Kevin De Bruyne gets injured. 17th of September, Rodri complains about the schedule. 22nd of September, Rodri gets injured. Yesterday, which was 2 days ago now, saying Son complains about the schedule, and yesterday Son goes off injured. I'm seeing a bit of a theme here.
So just don't talk about the schedule.
You'll be fine.
And you might be all right.
The next one from Kayla again, saying he made sure the team was secure with that third goal before being asked to get subbed off, always trying to put the team before him.
Yeah, but this is the situation. So as you see, we get the third goal. Solanke goes off to celebrate. He's taking his armband off and he's about to walk towards the bench. He then turns away from the bench and goes to celebrate with his teammates. And he looks happy and whatever. He's celebrating with his teammates and congratulating Solanke. He then looks like he's walking back towards the centre circle to kind of get the game to start off again. And then you can see Ben Davis holds it down. And you can see in the background there, Ange is signaling him, sit down, sit down. He's looking over to Ange and he's telling him sit down. And then he does sit down and wait for the medical team. So it's a bit confusing what exactly went on, because why, if he's about to come off, why is he then going back towards the centre circle and being told to sit down rather than... Is it just because he doesn't want to, maybe he feels like he can carry on, or maybe he's... I don't know. It's quite peculiar why he doesn't just either sit down because he feels like he's injured, or just come off, or why does he have to sit down? I don't know. It's a bit of a weird situation what went on there.
It's a very peculiar situation, which we'll probably never hear about it again. So... Unfortunately,
I don't know if we're overthinking it, but I don't really get what happened.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't understand what happened either. But Alex Greenberg shows this is the picture that I was talking about with Lucas Bergvall yesterday, and it's being likened to that.
Anakin Skywalker.
Is that Anakin Skywalker?
That's Anakin Skywalker when he turns to the dark side.
I see. So Bergvall's going to show his mean face soon.
Is this the start of Bergvall's move to Arsenal? I hope not.
Yido Gus says, if this Solanke performance doesn't move you, I can't help you.
Damn right. I think, if you can't see what Solanke brings, I mean, I don't know who hasn't seen it. I mean, I don't see anyone complaining, but if you haven't seen it, then if you can't see it, then I agree with Gus. I can't help you.
Mikey Moore tweeted out yesterday saying, unreal support tonight. Thank you. And that was quote retweeted to the Tottenham saying, winning start in the Europa League with Basuma and Pape. Shawsey giving us a few pictures of the night. Actually, some great pictures here with Solanke with his little anime celebration yesterday.
So that's Attack on Titan.
Okay, if you say so.
I do say so. What happens is you bite and then you turn into this big I can't really describe it. It's extra superhuman kind of thing.
Well, he didn't need to bite because he was in an extra superhuman.
Exactly.
Yesterday.
That's how it works in the Attack on Titan.
Next one is Pape with his celebration yesterday. It was great to see Pape on the score sheet because he's had to come under a bit of criticism this season and the back end of last season. So good to see him back on form. Brennan Johnson, all smiles with his celebration yesterday. And just the team going to celebrate with Brennan yesterday as well. Harry Brooks, one second. Harry Brooks says, and just doesn't change his principles. He constantly adapts his methods, and it's scary. There are pundits who played the game who don't notice the difference between principles and methods and continue to push the narrative of one way of playing, too open, can't defend set pieces, rather than actually looking analysis and dissecting what is the really and going on, what is the reality and is going on.
100%, I agree with that. I think there's a lot of lazy analysis about Tottenham, to be honest. And I feel like because we like to attack and we like to always try and play forward and be on the front foot, people just like look at us and say, oh, he's only has one way of playing, he only does this and does that. But actually, if you look at our games, he has changed things up a few times. He has looked to find solutions to problems. And whenever we have had problems, but he's always looked to try and find ways to find solutions to those problems. And just because sometimes either solutions haven't worked or whatever, for whatever reason, people just have this narrative like he's stubborn, he's naive, he only has one way of playing, all this kind of stuff, where I don't think that's true at all. I do think he does different things and tries different things and is willing to change in different ways. Yeah, I just feel like he just gets pigeonholed into certain things, and I don't think it's true.
Completely agree. Alex, the Euro expert, says the red card is obviously Dragusin's fault, but you can't blame him that much for panicking in this situation. Once again, the distance Spurs are putting between their centre-backs and the rest of their side creates enormous pressure on those centre-backs to handle situations.
You can see that Dragusin's about to receive the ball. There's just no one near him, and there's no option for him. And yes, he should probably play it back to the keeper in that situation, but still, that is also a problem with the team. The team should be helping him out a lot more. And obviously, I can't say just because the team did that, he had to get a red card. That's obviously a stupid take. But I would also say that the fact he was put in that situation is a problem with the team functioning, and that's at that point. And the team has to take a bit of responsibility for why he was put in that situation.
All right. Well, there you have it. That is all we have for you for reacts for the Qarabag game. And that is all we have for you for this particular stream. We'll be back very, very soon to preview the Manchester United game on Sunday, 4 o'clock kickoff up at Old Trafford. But thank you, everyone, for sticking around with us today. Do remember to download SofaScore. The link is pinned to the top of the live chat. And remember to enter the competition if you want to be in it, to win it, to win the We Are Tottenham TV t-shirt for you and your friend. Link is in the description below. All you have to do is type in your email address and your name, and you'll be in the live draw on Monday. So we'll see you all very, very soon. Don't go anywhere, guys. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.